Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. It seems as though there's a confluence of events that would effectively, figuratively open the floodgates for XRP in terms of price action, and I want to share with you what they are. These are things to pay attention to. Now, of course, the most obvious one is that the SEC v. Ripple case is going to be over. So assuming that we get positive news for XRP holders, even if Ripple technically loses, we're in the good as XRP holders as long as there's a path forward for us to buy and sell in secondary markets, and as long as that's enough for exchanges to feel comfortable relisting XRP, we're all good. So I'm optimistic for that, although technically nothing's guaranteed. But there are other big things happening exactly at the same time. So just taking everything that I'm going to share with you in this video, with this happening amongst the backdrop of XRP being the only large cap coin in existence to have regulatory clarity. Not even Bitcoin has regulatory clarity. Not officially, not in any sort of official capacity, not from the SEC, certainly not. So what are those things? Well, here I'll just cite off a few right at the outset of the video. So beyond the SEC v. Ripple stuff, which I suspect is going to be good news for XRP holders, especially if you look at what happened in the SEC v. Library case and the remedies portion, even the judge there, after hammering Library, and Library lost that case, even the judge says, yeah, this doesn't apply to secondary markets, obviously, which the SEC is not happy with. But on top of that, well, look, it's increasingly accepted that the bear market's over, so it'd have been when you think you'd trend upwards throughout the year, even if we don't see incredible euphoric bursts to the upside. But additionally, it looks like there's new chatter now being reported that Grayscale may defeat the SEC. And you may recall that Grayscale has applied, I don't even know how many times, for a spot Bitcoin ETF, which would be great for everyone that's in crypto, including XRP holders. They've been denied. So last summer, Grayscale sued the SEC, and there's some some word going around that it looks like the SEC actually might lose against Grayscale. Now, if that happens, my gosh, and I'll talk about the implications, but it's big. And then also on top of this, and this is more than just a rumor apparently, looks like even though cryptocurrency is broadly just banned in China, it looks like it's going to be coming back. I kid you not. And this is absolutely gigantic as well. So the confluence of all these things coming together at a time when XRP might be the only large cap coin on the planet with regulatory clarity, it could be the perfect storm for incredible price action. So we've got a lot to look forward to. But before unpacking this any further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I'm not offering legal or financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so there's this new story from the Daily Hodl titled, Gemini co-founder Cameron Winklevoss, named source of next crypto bull run, says US could get left behind. And the story's about a tweet from a couple days ago, and I read it at the time, and I was like, okay, interesting thought. I don't know if there's anything behind it, but now, based on news that's been breaking today, the answer is yes, it's actually highly relevant, and you should be aware of this. So check this out. Here's what Cameron Winklevoss, for the Winklevi twins of Gemini, had to say. February 19th. My working thesis at the moment is that the next bull run is going to start in the East. It will be a humbling reminder that crypto is a global asset class and that the West, really the United States, always only ever had two options. Embrace it or be left behind. It can't be stopped. That we know. And I'll just pause and note, well, I firmly agree with that. The genie is out of the bottle, it ain't going back in. That's for sure. It's the same was true with the internet. There were people that wanted to outlaw the internet. Because think of how dangerous it is for the sum of all human knowledge to be at the fingertips of unknown, perhaps shady individuals. Well, you should just shut down the internet, right? No. Like, let technology flourish and then just, regulate to the degree that it's necessary to regulate, and then, imprison the bad actors if necessary. That's pretty much it. And then Cameron Winklevoss says, any government that doesn't offer clear rules and sincere guidance will be left in the dust quickly. This will mean missing out on the greatest period of growth since the rise of the commercial internet. And it will mean missing out on shaping and being a foundational part of the future financial infrastructure of this world and beyond. So I read that and I was like, okay, sounds good. I can agree as far as the importance of having clarity. But when he's talking about it coming from the East, I was like, where's this coming from? Because he didn't provide any sort of rationale for that. And I don't know if he had some sort of inside info sooner than others, but there's endless headlines today about how crypto is making its way back into China after being banned. I guess it was in 2021. I mean, there have been warnings of bannings, I don't even know how many times over the years, but this one seemed to actually stick pretty well. And you know what happened with the mining operations in China, getting shut down and all that jazz. So it was definitely a bit more serious approach than the types of threats that we had heard that had spooked markets over the years prior to that. It seemed to have some more teeth to it. And this is a big deal, though. Consider that in China there are about 1.4 billion people. Now, there are only roughly 8 billion people on the planet, and 1.4 billion of the 8 billion people are in China. So what's being discussed here, and it looks like this is actually going to happen. It's more than just some sort of rumor, which is why I wanted to cover this. It looks like, at least in Hong Kong, which has, I looked it up before recording, has roughly 7.4 million people in it, which isn't a gigantic number in the scheme of the number of humans in the world. Looks like crypto trading is going to be allowed there, even for small investors. It looks like that's actually going to happen. And I wouldn't be surprised to see that spread out further to the rest of China. And so I don't know that it doesn't, well, I know. I'll say this. I know that it's not the case that even if it were declared 100% legal, go at it. It's not that suddenly 1.4 billion people are going to rush for crypto and Bitcoin or whatever, but a certain percentage will. It's always been the case that a small percentage of humans have driven all the price action that we've seen. So should we get something like this, should something like this occur, what might happen? Well, what's covered in the articles, having read through a few of them, and the main one stemmed from Bloomberg, frankly, they noted that it may just start in Hong Kong, and it may just be Bitcoin, it might just be Ether, but there's a consultation period which is going to end March 31st, and they note that trading looks like it could begin June 1st, according to this article here. So literally this year, and as we're getting into bull market territory, as XRP is getting clarity, even if it's only, say we're only Bitcoin that you could legally purchase in China, that's awesome for XRP holders. It's awesome for everyone in crypto. Why? Because Bitcoin is a scarce asset. It'll push up the price of Bitcoin, obviously. And then what happens for people around the world outside of China? How will they behave as Bitcoin goes up in price? Well, eventually they take profits, and they'll take profits sooner than they otherwise would have if there's more demand for it. And so then those profits, I mean, some put it into United States dollar or whatever their fiat currency of choice is, but a ton of it just rolls down into large cap coins. And then once those go up, then that profit goes into mid cap coins and small cap coins and rinse and repeat. So this is something that it would start at least potentially this year. Now, as far as how soon it could roll out into the rest of China, I don't know. But the idea that it's never going to happen is silly to me. I get it. There's a crackdown. It's the Chinese Communist Party. Like, is anybody surprised by this? But are they forever going to say, no, we don't want to participate in this? Kind of skeptical on that. I understand that they want to have extreme financial control, and they've got their invasive central bank digital currency, but they could still allow Bitcoin and do that. I mean, and still, be the communists that they are. Like, they still can, I'm just saying here. So the idea that it's never going to come back, I've always been skeptical of that anyway. It's just not something I've talked much about. And here you see the beginnings of that. And so that's something to watch for. This is all happening right now. And then on top of that, you've got what's happening here with where's the story here? Here's a headline from Finance Feeds from today. Grayscale Bitcoin Fund widens discount as SEC lawsuit nears end. And they highlight a couple tweets from an individual named Andrew, who started some sort of firm called X3, which I'm not familiar with, but I see a lot of very well-known individuals interacting with this particular Twitter account. I'm not really that familiar, but he's been getting a lot of attention in crypto media in particular lately. So people seem to believe that he knows people and gets the word out and stuff. So here was a tweet from this individual named Andrew. Don't know his last name, but it's getting, again, as I showed you, attention from crypto media. And he wrote the following. Update. More chatter that Grayscale could be poised to win its appeal/case against the SEC on March 7th, turning GBTC into a proper spot Bitcoin ETF. Legal minds believe their brief is powerful, and the court may be prone to pushing back on the regulatory overreach. Those same legal minds believe that if Grayscale were to lose, they could consider taking the case to the Supreme Court and have an even better chance of winning. Now, that would be interesting because I was actually literally mentioning this for a different reason in a video yesterday, because Stuart Alderati was Ripple's top, I guess he has a new title, it was top general, he was the general counsel, but now he is listed on his Twitter profile, chief legal officer. But anyway, he put out a tweet where he just noted that out of the last 5 Supreme Court cases that the SEC was involved with, they lost 4 of them. So not a great track record recently. They're obviously engaging in overreach. The current makeup of the Supreme Court is not okay with regulatory overreach, with government agencies reaching outside the bounds of what they're allowed to do based on congressional approval. So given that's the case, if it goes to that level, it would really be interesting to see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't go that far, but if it does, okay. But this is highly consequential too. This is massively consequential. Because what we're talking about here is a spot Bitcoin ETF. A spot Bitcoin ETF is important to XRP holders and everybody that is in crypto, because a spot Bitcoin ETF is an investment vehicle, an exchange-traded fund that can be purchased by everyday people, not just accredited investors, where you have to be a rich person to be able to do it, but everyday people. And it's a fund that would be bought and sold on major exchanges like the New York Stock Exchange, for example, and NASDAQ. And so people, even if they know about crypto and they're like, it sounds interesting, but I don't know, do I want to sign for this weird crypto exchange thing, that I don't know, in custody, this or that. But then if you put a fund literally on the exchange where they don't have to learn about self-custody of crypto or this or that, and they get exposure to the asset class, well, what do you think's going to happen? All sorts of people, if they're like, well, it's on a platform I'm already using, and you just have to make a few clicks, I think you're going to get way more demand for it. And it's important because with an exchange-traded fund, actual Bitcoin would have to be purchased to back it. Impacting all of this will absolutely impact supply and demand. You're talking about opening up floodgates, my gosh. And all of this is all happening. That's why I was saying that at the outside of the video. It's this confluence of all sorts of awesome things happening. And if things go right, and it's not all guaranteed, but if so, watch out. And so Grayscale here, they've been seeking to have a Bitcoin spot ETF for years and years and years, and they've applied and they've applied and they've applied, and they got shot down this past summer. So they're like, yeah, we're suing you now, SEC, because you have no legal right to continue to suppress this. There's no legit reason to not allow this. There's Bitcoin futures, and there's a whole bunch of arguments. But because their whole goal was to turn their Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, which is an investment vehicle only for rich people, accredited investors, they want to turn that into a Bitcoin spot ETF so that everyday people can jump in and purchase it on major exchanges, not crypto exchanges, but regular exchanges, like I said, New York Stock Exchange. That's a big deal. And so we've got this date to watch for, March 7th, coming up here. It's just a lot of stuff all at once, and it could go extremely well or admittedly disastrously, but I'm an optimist. But not just for the sake of wanting happy feels, because I think it makes logical sense to be an optimist here, despite hurdles. And there may be more hurdles. But so again, you've got the SEC v. Ripple case wrapping up. You've got us getting out of bear market territory just in a general sense. You've got China opening the doors again, and we'll see at what pace that unfolds. But it's not just a rumor. Like it appears like it's actually happening. And then you've got a spot Bitcoin ETF, which will notably increase the demand for Bitcoin. Like, hell yeah. These are important things. I don't know if the typical person is quite aware. That's why I wanted to share them all in this video. There's a lot going on here. This is very good for us. This is an exciting time to be an XRP holder specifically, and to be in crypto in general, for sure. I'm excited about a whole bunch of coins I own, but most excited for XRP, especially with the clarity. And my gosh, any day we could just wake up and have that headline that the case is over. I don't know when it's going to happen. Maybe Attorney Filan, a member of the XRP community, it could be correct. And if he's right, then by the end of March, so a little over a month, we could have that news. That's what he thinks is probable. And it could drag out longer, but either way, it's coming. And I'm just saying, if you wake up and you have an alert on your phone out of nowhere where, the day before XRP's trading at 40 cents, and then suddenly you wake up and you got an alert that it's like over $1, just don't be surprised. I'm just saying, if that happens, I'm not making a price prediction. I'm just saying, if it happens, don't be surprised. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because if anything I say are right, that would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.